My divorce, the real reason, I'll tell you. Most people think they already know the answer. They think it was betrayal, scandal, or some explosive argument hidden behind palace walls. The newspapers certainly thought so. The media built entire stories from guesses, analyzed photographs, and debated my life as if they had lived it themselves. But none of them knew the truth. The truth was much quieter, much sadder, and far more complicated. I remember standing in the enormous royal residence long after everyone had gone to sleep. The halls were silent, the chandeliers glowed softly, and the palace looked perfect from the outside, elegant, untouchable. Yet inside, it felt painfully empty. People imagine loneliness as being alone in a room, but the worst loneliness is standing beside someone and realizing they are already gone emotionally, mentally, spiritually. That realization did not happen in a single day. There was no thunderstorm, no shattered glass, no screaming, just distance. A tiny crack that grew larger every year. At first it seemed harmless, a missed conversation, a forgotten promise, a dinner eaten in separate rooms. Then months passed, then years, and the crack became a canyon. We became experts at pretending, experts at smiling for cameras and looking happy. The public adored us. Photographs captured perfect moments. Magazine covers praised us, and people called us a fairy tale. Meanwhile, the fairy tale was quietly dying behind closed doors. The strange thing about a dying relationship is that nobody notices the funeral. There are no flowers, no speeches, no ceremony. Just two people slowly becoming strangers. I kept telling myself things would improve. I believed the next month would be different, then the next holiday, then the next year. But time is not a magician. It does not repair what people refuse to fix. Eventually, the silence became normal, and that was the moment I should have been afraid. Not the arguments, not the disagreements, the silence. Because arguments mean people still care, while silence means they have stopped trying. I remember walking through the palace gardens one evening as the sunset painted everything gold and birds drifted across the sky. The world looked beautiful, yet something inside me felt hollow. I realized I could no longer remember the last meaningful conversation we had shared, and that realization terrified me more than any political crisis or royal responsibility. Kingdoms can survive difficult years. Relationships cannot survive emotional absence forever. The divorce itself was not shocking to me. The shocking part was how long I had known it was coming. Long before the paperwork, the announcements, and the headlines, a part of me had already accepted it. I simply did not want to admit it, because admitting it meant accepting failure not as a prince or public figure, but as a husband. When the announcement became public, the world immediately searched for villains. People always do. They want someone to blame, someone to hate, someone to point at. Reality disappointed them because there was no villain. There were simply two people who lost each other and stopped finding their way back. Sometimes relationships do not end because love explodes. Sometimes they end because love slowly starves. A little less effort, a little less communication, a little less understanding, until eventually there is nothing left to feed. For a long time after the divorce, I convinced myself that love was something I had already experienced and lost, something that belonged to the past and was too dangerous to trust again. I buried myself in royal duties, meetings, travel, politics, and responsibilities. Anything that kept me moving and distracted, because staying busy is easier than being honest with yourself. The world saw a prince continuing his life. Nobody saw the man quietly rebuilding himself piece by piece, learning how to trust again, how to hope again, and how to believe that not every ending is permanent. The real reason for my divorce was not betrayal, scandal, or one catastrophic mistake. It was much simpler. Two people stopped choosing each other every day, and love, no matter how powerful, cannot survive indefinitely without that choice. That truth took years to understand, years to accept, and years to forgive. Now, when I look back, I do not feel anger, resentment, or even regret, only understanding. Because some chapters are not meant to last forever. Some people enter your life to teach lessons rather than stay. And sometimes the end of one story becomes the beginning of another. The world remembers my divorce as a royal headline. I remember it as a quiet heartbreak that taught me the value of genuine connection and the importance of choosing someone every single day, even when life becomes difficult. That was the real reason, not a scandal, not a secret, just two hearts that slowly drifted apart until the distance between them became impossible to cross. Looking back now, I no longer see my divorce as a failure. I see it as a chapter. A painful chapter, yes, but still only a chapter. Because life did not end there, my story did not end there, and neither did my ability to love. If anything, the experience taught me what truly matters, not perfect photographs, not public approval, not appearances. What matters is having someone who chooses you when nobody is watching. Someone who stays when life becomes difficult. Someone who speaks honestly even when the truth is uncomfortable. Someone who feels like home rather than an obligation. For years after the divorce, people treated me differently. Some pitied me, some judged me, some acted as if I had become a cautionary tale. Every public appearance was followed by whispers. Every interaction became a rumor. Every smile became a headline. I learned very quickly that the world is fascinated by broken things, especially when those broken things wear crowns. At first, I tried to ignore it. I focused on my duties. I traveled more. I attended more meetings. I accepted every responsibility placed in front of me. If my schedule was full enough, maybe I wouldn't have time to think. Maybe I wouldn't have time to remember. But memories are stubborn. They wait patiently. They hide in ordinary places. A familiar song, a certain season, an empty chair at dinner, a photograph discovered in an old drawer. Suddenly, years that felt buried return as if they happened yesterday. There were nights when sleep refused to come. The palace would become silent, and I would find myself walking through its endless corridors. The guards assumed I was thinking about state matters. They assumed I was planning speeches or preparing for meetings. The truth was much simpler. I was trying to outrun thoughts that followed me everywhere. I kept asking myself whether things could have ended differently. Whether one conversation, one decision, one moment of courage could have changed everything. Eventually, I realized those questions had no answers. Some roads only become clear after you've already left them behind. The hardest lesson was accepting that not every relationship is meant to last forever. We grow up believing that love alone can conquer anything. It sounds beautiful, it sounds romantic, but reality is more complicated. Love matters, but effort matters too. Communication matters, trust matters, choosing each other every single day matters. Without those things, even the strongest feelings slowly fade into memories. As time passed, something unexpected happened. The pain became quieter. It never completely disappeared, but it changed. It stopped feeling like an open wound and started feeling like an old scar, still there, still visible, but no longer controlling my life. And with that change came something I never expected to feel again. Hope. Not the reckless hope of a young man chasing a dream. A different kind of hope. A wiser hope. The kind that understands heartbreak and survives anyway. The kind that knows nothing is guaranteed, but chooses to believe in happiness regardless. For the first time in years, I stopped looking backward. I started looking forward. That frightened me more than the divorce ever did. Because moving on means accepting that the story is over. It means accepting that the future you imagined will never happen. It means opening a door without knowing what waits on the other side. Most people think courage is facing danger. Sometimes courage is simply allowing yourself to be happy again. The day I finally understood that, I was standing on a palace balcony watching the sunrise. The sky was painted in gold and crimson, and the city below was just beginning to wake. For a moment, everything felt peaceful. Not perfect, not magical, just peaceful. And after everything I had been through, peace felt like a gift. That was when I realized my divorce had not ruined me. It had changed me. It had stripped away illusions